Is the part of practice you're kind of looking forward to the most?
For sure. I love one-on-ones. That's where the money is, man. You rush the passer, you get sacks. That's where the money is.
Is it a technique thing for you? Is it a mental part of the game? What specifically were you working on heading into this week to show coaches what you want to show them?
Right, just get more flexible. The more flexible and more flexibility you have, you bend more, you feel faster, be more explosive out of your stances and stuff like that. So overall, it can help you out in a many combination of different ways. But there's really no secret to pass rushing. It's one of those you have to work at it, and it's either you got it or you don't.
Good morning, Houston, Texas. Today is Saturday, in case you guys have forgot and are no longer counting the days, combined with this quarantine. And we definitely want to get into the draft when it comes to the Texans. I believe that yesterday they addressed needs and they addressed positions that needed to be addressed. Here's my initial thought around that. Scarlett being the starter is really not the greatest option. I believe that yesterday with Jonathan Grenard, they answered that. Definitely a guy who's very versatile for them. Can rush, can blitz, can cover. And it'll be interesting to see how they use him. Now, when I look at the tape with Grenard, one of the things that I do see off the bat is they're going to have to work with him when it comes to tackling. His explosiveness coming out of the edge to sack the quarterback, I've seen maybe 4 or 5 tackles that I know for sure in the NFL they're gonna flag. You definitely can't lead with your crown, so he'll have to work on that. And then the other thing is, just like I said, his aggressiveness might get the best out of him. Like sometimes we saw with Jadeveon Clowney, he's so aggressive and his desire to get there sometimes would cost things like, we saw in the Colts game where they were able to draw him off sides. But I trust that Weaver is a good enough coach to coach him up on that. With the second pick, man, at 40, totally surprised that they even picked there. But Ross Blacklock, man, defensive lineman, defensive tackle, went quickly to eat crow on it because I strongly believe that the Texans were going to trade down. The thing about trading down that I feel with OBrien is maybe at this stage, and this is the only reason I say this. When I look at the reports that came out, for instance, John McClain said that the Texans had a deal with the Lions for the 90th pick to move down. And then all of a sudden, they weren't able to, I guess, put the trade. Last minute, decided they didn't want to go through with the trade. So apparently, OBrien was caught on tape being furious about it. When asked about it later on in the post conference that night, yesterday, he said that it was just, they were just messing around, and some stuff was going on with the Zoom meetings. So take that for what it is. OBrien has never been a guy to admit his faults. The only time that I've ever seen him admit his fault was when he cursed out that fan, and I'm pretty sure that they forced him and he had to do that. I like the picks, man. I really do. I just feel yesterday when I said in my video that I feel like the Texans should maximize this draft. I feel like by now the Texans should at least minimum have three already picks. Like they should have drafted 3 players. It's also interesting to see it. I think some people were mad in the past video that I actually went over other teams' picks. But guys, you need to understand that this is a race that everyone seems to be going, and that is chasing the Kansas City Chiefs and their speed. San Francisco saw their defense, was right there, almost ready to win the championship, and then wasn't able to, didn't have enough weapons, so they go and get Brandon Ayuk. You look at what the Ravens are doing, man. The Ravens got Patrick Queen. Let me look at this real quick. The Ravens got Patrick Queen. They got J.K. Dobbins at running back. That's to go with their other running back that they already have. Sorry, it escapes my mind his name. But that's a two-headed monster already with the Ravens. Then they draft one of the guys that was on the Texans list, which is a defensive lineman, Justin Mambuke from Texas A&M in the 3rd round. And then they had another pick in the 3rd round, and they drafted slot receiver Devin Duvernay, wide receiver. So obviously the Ravens are just trying to also build around what they already have. And the smart teams do, obviously. And I strongly believe that the Texans have done that as well. I just feel like we could definitely be one of those teams that also could have already had 3 or 4 picks. Now, I get it, man. Most people will say, well, if you really consider one of the 7th round picks that you guys have, that was basically turned into a 7th because of Kareem, right? So, yeah, we would have had an extra 3rd, and maybe there was no need to trade down. But as far as I see it, man, there was no defensive tackle taking the whole 2nd round. No defensive tackle taking the whole 2nd round. So I feel like the Texans were in fear that Blacklock was somebody that was gonna get drafted. And the only reason I say that is because at pick 38, Carolina, 2 picks before we actually chose, Carolina took Gross Matos, edge from Penn State. And I'm pretty sure that started to put a little bit of pressure on the Texans and what they were going to do at 40. The thing about trading down, maybe for O'Brien, and maybe why teams don't feel like they want to do a fair deal with the Texans, is because when you look at the trades that O'Brien has done, they're either been really neutral, like both teams won, or we really haven't got the compensation that we should from that particular player. Now, with the Laremy Tunsil trade, that was another topic I want to say that came up. Congratulations to Laremy Tunsil, man. He got the bag. We will definitely talk about that and the expectations behind what a 3-year contract entails with the Texans. Look, I understand that every player is wanting to have a short contract, just like the LeBron James era, where he's only doing 2-year contracts with a 1-year option to decide if he wants to leave or if he wants to stay. And that actually helps you maximize your dollars. I completely understand that players are doing that. From an organizational perspective, though, how efficient is that when, as you said, and I think actually the reports early came out and said that the Texans were already openly and preliminary talking with Watson. I just brushed that aside because I knew the article that came out when the Chiefs and the Texans played, where it was reported that Deshaun Watson would wait until Mahomes actually reset the market for him to even accept any contract. So I thought that was a waste of time, but I could see how they were initially talking to see and gauge where Deshaun is, which is fine. You should do that. My thing is, then later on, O'Brien in the press conference is asked about that contract, and he said, "You know what? There's no rush. We have a great relationship with Deshaun and his agent, and we'll get the deal done when we get the deal done, but we definitely want Deshaun to be a Houston Texans." Great things to say. But we both know, look, the Laremy Tunsil thing, a month ago, they were talking about how close they were to closing the deal. So this stuff takes time, and with Deshaun, I wouldn't get my hopes up until Mahomes actually signs his contract, which some people were arguing and telling me, Mahomes is not signing a contract this year because they can't afford to pay him. And that may be true. I really haven't looked at the Chiefs cap to really dive into that. And that may be true. And that to me makes sense. Maximize his contract, his rookie contract, until you can't maximize it anymore, and then pay him. So, I mean, that's understandable. They're trying to win rings. Listen, the Chiefs, they didn't just go and win last year's Super Bowl, this year's Super Bowl, and then are gonna go and eclipse for the next 50 years. Like, they're trying to build a dynasty themselves. And yes, Andy Reid has never been the coach to carry such a dynasty, but he has been the coach to take a team, the Eagles, for instance, to the Super Bowl more than once. So Andy Reid's thoughts and the Chiefs' thoughts is not, hey, we're going to take a step back this year. this is the reason why you see moves that they've been doing. For instance, the Chiefs themselves. So the Chiefs at 32 in the first round took Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We talked about that at running back. I said that would force us, that would change our hand, that would force us to get a DT first. That's exactly what we did. Second round, they got linebacker Willie Gay. I mean, listen, you need linebackers, especially linebackers that will help you with rushing problems like they have. You saw how many yards Carlos Hyde went, and got against them. Then they got an offensive tackle. They've always needed offensive line help, man. The fact that they took on Rankin to give us Carlos Hyde shows you how much they need offensive line. But these are just little small things that they're doing to improve. And the best teams recognize their weakness and attack it. That's why I say, I'm not going to judge the Texans draft. They got what they needed. They needed a defensive tackle, and they needed an edge that could also play linebacker. That's great. Here's my thoughts around what should happen next. The Texans should really look at drafting a safety. Here's why I say that. You need someone that's going to be a dog as much as Justin Reed. And to me, that was and only is one guy who is Kayvon Wallace, the safety from Clemson. And to be honest, you don't even got to reach for him here in the third round. I'm pretty sure he's going to be there in the fourth round. But there's already been a good amount of safeties taken. There's already been a good amount of corners taken. So that's what pushes and makes your decision more critical when it comes to your time to pick a player in the draft. Those are all the things that the draft board changes. And I think that's what people don't understand when they come at me about a certain thing. Look, if their thought was to trade down and they couldn't get the deal done, then that's on them, bro. But it ain't the first time. Look at the Lions deal. I didn't report that, but the Lions deal fell through. And so, let's not pretend like shit doesn't fall through, because shit falls through. I'll take a little bit of more precaution of where and when I say it, because people take it, I feel like people take it for face value as if shit can't change. And that is crazy. That's like saying, man, tomorrow I have planned that I'm going to make a video. For instance, like me, the draft, right? I had planned that I was going to do not a live reaction, but I was going to do a reaction where you guys would be able to see my face that whole first round, thinking, Texas would trade in, and then I get a blackout. So, look, by us pretending like we control every aspect of things, now, you guys may feel like, oh, that's a weak excuse, and that's all right, man. Like I said, I'm not going to continue to fucking... I'm not going to back down from shit that I say just because people feel like if they ain't got the information, they can't pull it up in an article, like that shit is false. Bruh, yesterday on Twitter, I literally said my tweet where I had put the Texans were not going to pick at 40 to Cole text himself. Because, why? Bro, ain't no one afraid to be wrong. People that are afraid to be wrong, bro, them boys, they not going to succeed. They're not going to do nothing in life, bro. That's how they live their life in fear, bro. And I would not live a life in fear, bro, because to me, a life lived in fear, bro, is a half-lived life. Meaning you're not really living to your potential, bro, because you're always looking to see what negativity or what negative shit could happen. And I refuse to honestly live my life that way. That's enough about that, man. Yeah, man. Very interesting. Now, in round 3, and this is where I give credit to OBrien, there were more edges taken. There were more defensive tackles taken. Like I said, the Ravens at 71, they took Justin Mbuke. Obviously, that trade is actually from New England. New England, coming into the second round, had 4 round picks in the third. They took 2 of those third, gave them to the Ravens, and then moved up into the second. And so, look, man, as much as the Texans wish that they were the New England Patriots, they're not. To me, the Patriots maximize it in their way. Now, I feel like Bill Belichick is a little hard-headed because he still went all defense, didn't really give or get any weapons. So I had to fact-check myself because I thought it was Mercedes Lewis. This is Marquise Lee. But yeah, man, wide receiver coming out of the Jags who hasn't been really productive, especially when you don't have an answer at quarterback, that's not probably the best combo. This is why I've said that New England is rebuilding, but they're rebuilding in a smart way. In other words, they're not going to reach for a quarterback. That's the reason why you saw New England trade out of the first round. They're not going to reach. They're not going to reach for a quarterback if they don't believe in that quarterback. but they are going to address other places and needs, and I feel like they did. And, in round 3, let's see, do I see any? I mean, you see a lot of corners go. Defensive ends, they were going. I think, okay, so the Ravens got the A&M guy, right? Then the Cowboys at 82, they got Neville Gallimore. That's another defensive tackle. So at this point, we would have not picked. But then at 90, we would have picked. So, look, I don't know if is Blacklock the better defensive tackle from those 3. He's definitely better than Gallimore. And I feel like Blackpool and Ambuke are, 2 pretty close defensive tackles that are pretty close. I think Blackpool has better swim moves. Definitely, Blackpool has better swim moves, and it'd be smart for him to, get under a guy like JJ and learn a couple more and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that Weaver will be able to teach him some. But I can definitely see the direction that the Texans are going. Look, man, when I said earlier in videos that the Texans needed to be a team that will half the time blitz, like that's the team they needed to become. And I can see how that's happening because of the talent that they're starting to draft is talent that have high motor and are players that are going to continue to rush and rush and rush until you're tired of freaking blocking them. And so that's why I say, these choices are good. New England getting Fernie Jennings, linebacker from Alabama at 87. I think that was a hell of a pick for them, man. Honestly, just watching, and it was just a drag, right? Watching from 40 all the way to 90. And then so much talent just leaving. And, it was still a great pick. The Blacklock was still a great pick, but you got to look at every pick that happens after you haven't traded down and really judge it, right? Could you have got Blacklock at 90? Could you have got Zach Bond at 40? Like, these are the interchangeable things that you got to think about. And honestly, I'm not going to give them a draft grade until all this is said and done because, like I said, there's still great players out there. They're at the top of the 4th. They'll be picking here in a few hours. And, look, is the Kayvon guy going to be there in the 4th round? Yeah, I'm sure he is, obviously. But is he going to be there in the 5th round? I'm not too sure, man. I'm really not too sure if he'll be there in the 5th round. It just really all depends. Like, from a grade perspective, when you look at all the best available, he was probably like on the 3rd page. So, is he gonna be there in the 5th? We'll definitely have to see, man. Yeah, I mean, what else? The Denver Broncos at 95, but that was way beyond their pick. So, Meltovin Agim. So you never know, man. I mean, you gotta also give credit to Bill O'Brien because here's the things that you also don't know. You don't know if a player did want if a team did want Blacklock and they were willing to trade up, but once we got him, they were like, all right, we don't need to trade up. So, like I said, it was great picks for the Texans. The reason why it was great picks for the Texans is because they addressed 2 positions of need. They addressed the reader, him leaving. They addressed having to get a linebacker whose name is not Brandon Scarlett. I mean, it's just honestly that simple. And when you look at everything that we have, one of the things that I noticed is at outside linebacker, we're going to have Whitney Merciless and Jacob Martin. Defensive end, currently we got J.J. Watt and Carlos Watkins. At nose tackle, we have Ross Blacklock and Brandon Dunn. They actually already put Blacklock over Dunn. So we don't know with O'Brien if automatically Blacklock is going to start. You would think he would if you picked him at 40. Defensive end, we have Charles Omenihu and Tim Jernigan. I think Tim Jernigan is definitely going to be very essential for the growth of Ross Blacklock. Listen, like I said, when they drafted Reader, they had Wilford right there. And between Wilford and J.J. Watt, man, they were able to really, really groom DJ Reader into what he became, man, which was a really, really great nose tackle who has a great run stopper. His only problem was really honestly not being able to pass rush. Where you do see where Ross Blacklock does have that ability. Those quick swim moves, that speed to rush right through the middle, definitely will pay out. It will definitely help the edges, because as he's trying to freaking sack somebody, when you get a quarterback like Mahomes, you get a quarterback like Lamar Jackson, those are quarterbacks who, when they see the pressure, they want to escape. They want to get out of the pocket, and then that's when you'll get a guy like J.J. Watt, a guy like Aminu, and Whitney Merciless, who'll be able to chase them down. And honestly, I want to say Jonathan Grenard, because you could have J.J. Watt, Merciless, or J.J. Watt, Aminu, and then you could have Merciless and Grenard still solidifying that pocket stays somewhat intact, and that they are under pressure to the point where they got to throw the ball even if their wide receiver is covered. Because like I said, you give those two guys any time. Look at the Ravens. Look how much time we gave him to throw the ball. Absolutely destroyed us. And the thing about the Ravens is they're a different monster now. You got a two-headed monster in the backfield. I wouldn't say three-headed monster, because Lamar Jackson likes to run the ball too. So, hey, they got three people in the backfield that can run. And then on top of that, they've already added weapons in the wide receiver crew. They're rumored to try to want to go get Antonio Brown. They do that, man. They're loaded up too. So it's going to be a dogfight, man. It's definitely going to be a dogfight. It's going to be about who won it more. I feel like we got the better quarterback. We really do. I just don't feel like we got the best head coach. Man, losing a 24-0 lead tells you everything you need to know about a coach. And if you guys didn't know, Bill O'Brien was the coach that took the New England Patriots to an undefeated season and couldn't win the big chip. Like, that's, bro, any team would rather not go undefeated and win the chip. Any team. You ask any team that, they'll tell you that that's something that they would. Now, here are some things that were interesting. I think D-Pat Stat actually posted this article on Sports Illustrated where they talked about Grenard and some of the reasons that O'Brien liked him. First reason is when they were asked about how Grenard likes to... what he enjoys about going against his opponent. He says that he likes to demoralize his opponent. He said he takes pride in getting in their head and the opponent and talking a lot of trash. Love it, man. Love it. When I saw that, I was like, perfect. That is perfect. Because you need that on this team. You got it in Lonnie. You got it in Justin Reed. You got it in J.J. Watt. But you just need more of that. Especially in the middle, especially in the linebacker. Because there's sparks of it with Cunningham, right? There's sparks of it with Cunningham. Cunningham is not the type of person that might verbally talk. But man, the way he'll just toss you around, that is enough. He doesn't need to verbally talk to you. He's literally telling you you're trash by the way he's throwing you around. You're just a freaking towel. So... adding Grenard to that linebacker crew, man, it's not a bad thing. It really isn't. 2, it says Grenard also said that his favorite hobby is sleeping and staying at home. O'Brien was like, ding. Number 3, Grenard is only 18 credits away from getting his MBA. Congratulations on that, man. I hope you get that sooner than later. And it's a good backup plan, right? Plan B for him. Great. That's a good thing for him. Number 4, Jonathan Grenard was only a 3-star recruit coming out of high school. Hey, that's what people do, man. They are doubted. I think he even said that, if I'm not mistaken, in his press conference, that he's always been doubted and he's taking that chip on his shoulder. So, hey, a guy who literally takes a chip on his shoulder, you can't get enough of those guys. Number 5, when he was at Louisville, Grenard was the captain of the football team, the whole captain of the football team when he transferred from Louisville to Florida. I'm not sure if you guys knew that he had transferred, but yeah, I mean, I had questions obviously when they said that, why he transferred, because sometimes you would think he transferred because he felt that the competition was not going to give him any playing time, and I don't really honestly truly know. I haven't really dove into it, but just from him being here stating that he was the captain of the team, why would you make a captain out of somebody who's on the bench, right? He obviously must have been a good football player for Louisville, and he continued to be the same for Florida, and I feel like he's going to continue to do the same for the Texans. Number 6, Grenard was also a multi-positional talent, as he even played tight end in high school. Man, ding, 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 ding. Boy, when Bill O'Brien looks at that, you know Titus Howard was a quarterback, right? They love that versatility, man. Hey, push comes to shove, man. Titus Howard, backup quarterback. Grenard, our tight end. Number 7, John Grenard was also a standout on the basketball court in high school. His multi-sport ability makes him a very athletic player. Hey, a guy who can catch. That's great, man. Especially a linebacker. Intercept the ball back. Actually, that's another thing that I noticed on tape. Now that I'm reading that about him being a basketball player, that's another thing that I noticed on tape. He was the guy who batted that ball down quite a lot, man. Quite a lot. And in our best years as the Texans defense, we were batting balls down like ain't no tomorrow. I mean, Kyler Murray is not going to be able to see over this line. Just a shot at Arizona. I don't think we play them this year, but hey, man, whenever we do, that's going to be an interesting game. But yeah, man, this is just to kind of summarize day 2 of the Texans. They absolutely got star players, great players at positions of need. They said they were going to draft position in need. Look, they literally said that, and they still didn't do that. So for you guys to say that things don't change, that's one thing, right? We'll definitely here in the next couple of days, we'll go over the next picks. I think today is the end of the draft, right? Round 4 through 7. I'm interested to see if they will draft all 3 picks in the 7th round. They've been reported to want to take one of those picks and maybe, trade for a future pick in next year's draft. Not too sure what they'll do there. I'm not too sure if they'll, pack those 3 and then move into the 6. Who knows, right? At that point, it really is about strategy and what's left. So it'll be interesting to see. And then, of course, we will continue to make videos, man. There was a press conference with Bill O'Brien about these picks. So I'm pretty sure they'll have one today over our picks today. I'm not too sure if they do that with the, round 4 through 7. But I know that they'll have one once the draft class is done. So hopefully that gets done this weekend. I know I got a video coming out tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then Monday. So hopefully between that time, those press conferences come out and we can analyze and break those down. Definitely want to break down the Laremy Tunsil contract with you guys because a 3-year contract to me, it rings alarms like no other, man. 3 years, that amount of money, man. Ooh, what is our expectation about Laremy Tunsil? Like, what is their expectation of Laremy Tunsil? Like, that's the first question that comes to my head. Obviously, if Laremy Tunsil didn't want to sign a long-term deal, that's great and all. But at the end of the day, can you really pay him what the market value reset will be in 3 years for left tackles? Like, I'm not too sure, man. And so that makes me question this whole deal. Like, what is our thoughts behind that? Does O'Brien think that he can get a new left tackle in 3 years and have him on a rookie contract? Like, there's so much to think about that, so much to analyze on it and break it down. So we will be doing that this weekend, man. So keep an eye on that, man. But hey, man, go Texans, baby. Look, it's gonna be a solid year when it comes to the talent that we got on the field. These two youngins that we picked up, man, they're aggressive. They are intense. They got high motor, and they're willing to get after it, man. And that's exactly what you needed because, man, did you see a lot of hands on hips in some of those playoff games. But anyways, man, that's my spill. Y'all have a great day.